Hi everybody, welcome. It's Matthew Dickson of minday.ca. It's Monday night and I'm going to talk to you about some mental health tips, things that have helped me. Reading books, taking my recovery into my own hands was huge. Sometimes we can feel with mental illness that there's nothing we can do and why bother fighting. And I encourage you to fight. I encourage you to take your recovery into your own hands. That increases your chances of getting through it. Recovery is possible. It is possible. That's one of the biggest things I can encourage you to do is to look after yourself, to to do the best that you can. I know that so many of us are struggling. Millions of us are struggling, and if you're one of them, try to remember that you're not alone. There are millions of people struggling right now around the world. You're not the only one. It may feel like you're the only one, that you're the only one going through what you're going through. There are millions of people thinking similar thoughts, maybe the exact same thoughts as to what you're thinking right now, what you thought today, what you thought yesterday, what you'll think about in the coming days. There are millions of us out there thinking the same things, and we're all in this together. It's we it's I know how lonely it can feel. Emma Benoit of the film My Ascension, she attempted suicide, survived, and is now helping others save their lives from the same. And she says that people say to her, "Well, I have no one to talk to." And granted, yes, some of us may not have people to hang out with and talk to on a regular basis, but there are people out there who you can reach out to if you need help. There are many people in your community who would be willing to listen to you if you reach out. And there's no shame in that. It's so you've got something wrong with your brain. We could have something wrong with any organ of our body. Any part of our body, something can go wrong. Your brain is no different. And it's not your fault. I want to remind you it's not your fault. Your brain, I know with me, it went to so many places like if only I didn't do that, or if I didn't do this or didn't do that, maybe I wouldn't have gotten sick. And you can say, well, hindsight is 2020. Well, how do we know if we didn't do those things we wouldn't get sick? How do we know? I mean, I just want to remind you it's not your fault. It's your brain. I think with punishment, so many of us are punished in life for doing bad things as a kid or in school or whatever. And I think, I mean, there's a place for punishment, I'm sure, but that plays out in your head when you get walloped with pain like mental illness. You start to think, well, why am I being punished this way? Did I do something wrong? Did I do something wrong to deserve this? Why is this happening to me? If maybe because I did that, that's why I'm being punished this way. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say you did nothing wrong. Nothing. Some of us can do everything right and still get this disease, and it is hard to say whether if you did this thing or if you did that thing, whether whether that's what caused this mental illness in you. It's so hard to say that. The brain is so and the body is so complex and convoluted, and we'll never fully understand it. We'll get better at it, we'll understand it more and more, but I don't think we'll ever fully understand what goes on in our body. And I just want to remind you, you didn't do anything wrong. I'm sure there's things we can do to lessen our chances of mental illness. We need to keep doing those as time goes on. Forgiveness for yourself is important. To just say, look, I did the best I could with what I knew at the time. I didn't know all these things. You can tell yourself when you were younger or earlier in your life. I didn't know if I acted like this or did this or behaved this way or said or thought these things that might increase my chances of mental illness. You don't know that. There's there are things we can go over and over in our heads so many times. I just want to remind you that it's not your fault. There, we're all here right today, and whatever the date is, November 7th, I think, of 2022. All of us. It's a brand new day for all of us, and there's nothing we can do about yesterday, November 6th, or the day before, November 5th. There's nothing we can do. Nothing. It's gone. Gone way past into the recesses of time. We'll never get it back. There's nothing we can do about it. I don't know if this is any help for you for trying not to beat yourself up too much about things you may have done in your past. And I know for me, my head went round and round in circles for years. I'd like to see if I can prevent that in you, and just saying, look, you did the best you could with what you knew at the time, and let's just try to move on and do the best we can from here. For Mind Aid, I'm just going to switch topics here for a sec. For Mind Aid, I'm trying to get on bigger stages with bigger audiences. I've reached out to, my plan is to reach out. I reached out to one. I want to reach out to some larger humanitarian organizations and seeing if there's any way I can get in front of their audiences somehow. I don't know if that's possible. There are people who've been buying goats and drilling wells and building schools, well, donating money for people to do this. And there's all sorts of things you can do to help someone with in poverty in poor countries in the world. We've been doing this for decades. I'm just wondering if there's any way I can get in front of those pre-existing audiences that have been around for decades to say, look, I've got this website, mindaid.ca. You can help people with mental illness in developing countries. And I'm just wondering if I can get my message out in front of them. So I've made headway. I phoned one of them today, waiting to hear back. And it's a plan I have, a tactic. I don't know if it'll work or not. It may or may not, but anyway, that's my latest good news. So if you're fighting with mental illness, keep going. Keep going. You don't know what the future may bring. Always stay hopeful as best you can. I know you can have some dark days, and we're allowed dark days. We're allowed days to just not be good. Even the healthiest of people, Olympic athletes, have bad days. They have days where they're not as energetic. They have rest days where they don't do a whole heck of a lot. They have cheat days with meals. They get to eat some unhealthy food, sit on the couch, watch Netflix. You're allowed to have days like that too. If every day throughout the year is like that for you, maybe that's the best you can do, and that's fine too. We're all fighting. We're all doing the best we can. All I want you to do is do the best you can. That's all you're ever expected to do in this world. The best you can. That's all you're ever expected to do. So I want to congratulate you for fighting another day, going through mental illness. I want to congratulate you for that because I know how hard it was. So keep up the good work. I'm rooting for you, and